amazed with myself and with technology. And if this is working, I am live on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So how cool was that? So tonight is the day before the Super Bowl, and I just want to give out a shout out to all the food fighters out there like me that say, for tomorrow's Super Bowl. And tomorrow is Super Bowl, and you can eat as much as you want, and you don't have to. I just want to give you the choice of you don't have to overeat tomorrow if you don't want to for Super Bowl Sunday. So tomorrow, which is Super Bowl Sunday, which I think is going to be the 7th, February 7th, I'm going to have my first Sunday show. And the Sunday shows are going to be about, well, I'm calling it stories of serendipity and synchronicity. And yes, I do love alliteration. And I like to say big words because I don't really have a big vocabulary. So I like to use a big word once in a while. And I will tell you the difference between those two words to me. And then during the week, I'm going to have a LinkedIn Live to benefit first-time supervisors and managers. So there's going to be, or leaders. So there's going to be guests on that are either a first-time leader, and they're just going to tell me their concerns and fears, and I'm going to help them with that. I'm going to have people that have been first-time leaders, and they're going to tell us what they wish they had known when they started. We're going to have on HR directors, HR managers that are going to tell us what they wish their first-time leaders knew. And that's going to be really, really fun. And now, let me do one other thing, because I am supposed to be able to see the chat if someone chats me up. Oh my gosh, Jason, hello. Brian, come on. I am so impressed. You want to come on with me, Brian? There's the link. Oh my gosh. And Maria, thank you. I tried last night. Oh my gosh, I tried doing this last night, and you just saw me going like this. I couldn't figure out how to turn the sound on. I wasn't sure if I was live. So I had a friend of mine in Thailand reach out to me last night and say, "Your live left me speechless because nobody heard anything." So I want to tell you again that I'm so excited to be here. And speaking of serendipity and synchronicity, I never knew there was such a thing as LinkedIn Live. And my coach, Jamie Monk, who I'm going to have on as a guest one of these days in England. So he says funny things, funny expressions that I'm not used to, being from Philly and living in San Diego most of my life. And he gave me an assignment that I had to see if I could get on anyone's podcast. So one morning I woke up, and I know I'm not supposed to do it, but looked at my LinkedIn first thing in the morning before I even got out of bed. And there was this guy doing a LinkedIn Live, and I was like, what is this? And that was Paul Charles Kopp. And so I contacted him and I said, could I be on your show? And he says, yeah. So during the show, Brian, I'm eventually going to get back to you. During the show, I was telling him that I struggle with being great and being humble at the same time. And can they both exist? And so he said, you want to see somebody who's really humble? Check out Brian. Check out Brian's LinkedIn Lives. And so Brian Schulman That's how I hooked up with you. And so then through Brian and through Paul Charles, I met Maria, who introduced me to Stephen Liu. So last night, Stephen was so nice. He got on a Zoom call with me and tried to help me figure this out. And I was confused because I thought I needed OBS, and I'm using Restream, and a lot of people use StreamYard. And so Stephen Liu was using StreamYard, so he could only help me just a little bit. And I kept watching another YouTube and another video on how to do this. And today I feel much better. Today I feel much better about this. Now watch this. I can change the captions to so I love when I did a bunch of LinkedIn lives last year, and I was the guest, and I would love when they would put, like, if someone makes a comment, they can just put it up there. That is so neat. And now look, I'm doing it. And okay, so I told you I was going to tell you the difference between synchronicity and serendipity. Okay, so let me see if I can get to my if I can get to of course there was the movie Serendipity that comes up right away. Dipity. Which I saw, which I love, and my kids and I went to New York City right after to watch the ball, the New Year's Eve after the bombing of the Trade Center, and we actually went to that restaurant Serendipity that they had in the movie, and that was a good time. We stood in Times Square and watched the ball drop, and that was just amazing. But serendipity is the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. And used in a sentence, they have a fortunate stroke of serendipity. And then to me, synchronicity is just a little bit different. I don't study Carl Jung, but I know a little bit about him. I'd like to say I did. But Jung's definition of synchronicity is basically meaningful coincidences. So there's not very much difference between synchronicity and serendipity. However, synchronicity does sometimes people think involve spirituality. So this definition says synchronicities are incidents of spiritual significance that ask us to momentarily dampen our self-obsession and consider the possibility of the divine. Synchronistic experiences leave us with a curious sense that we should pay attention. So spoiler alert, it's possible that I might say that word G-O-D that bothers people today, but you know, I always tell people I have a really strong faith, but my faith is in something that I can't define. And to keep it easy, I call it God. And to me, synchronicity is sometimes God shots. Like, how could that possibly happen? How could two people meet? Like, here's your story. If my son-in-law is still listening, my daughter was in college and she decided to go to study in Italy. And we lived in this city outside of San Diego called Santee, and it is a just a working class neighborhood. And um, there had been a school shooting. Basically, no one would have ever known where Santee is, except there had been a school shooting there. So um, my daughter goes to Siena. She goes to University of California school did. And so all the UC schools that were going to Italy, all the young men and young women were joined together with all the different schools. So she has a roommate that she knows and two roommates that are coming from a different UC school. And so they're introducing themselves on the first day. And um, my daughter says, well, I doubt if you've ever heard of where I'm from, but we are unfortunately known because we had a school shooting. And the one of the young women that she didn't know was from Santee. And they met in Siena, Italy. And so it's like stuff like that that I'm going to talk about on Sundays. And people are going to come in and tell their stories. And I was also inspired by Rock. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember his name now. Dwayne something. And I'll post that later in the comments on my LinkedIn. There was a video that I did post, so if you haven't seen it, just go through my LinkedIn, and he calls it the best thing that never happened. And he's talking about in life how he really wanted to play in the, I think, the Canada Football League, and it didn't happen. And because that thing never happened, the trajectory of his life changed. And I'm fascinated by that. There's this movie called Sideways or Sliding Doors or something with Gwyneth Paltrow, and she and it's two different movies combined into one. And she's running to catch an elevated train, and in the one movie she catches it, and in the second movie she doesn't catch it. And so it just shows how different her life is from that one seemingly insignificant thing that she got on the train or she didn't get on the train. And so I'm fascinated by stuff like that. And let's see, I want to put this back up here in case anyone wants to hop on with me. Do, 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 do. All right. That's really all I wanted to tell you. I wanted to tell you that you really don't need to pig out tomorrow. You can if you want to, but it's just another day. And I wanted to tell you that during the week, I'm going to be talking about first-time leaders. As of right now, I think it's going to be on Tuesdays or Thursdays. I got to get that figured out. Next thing for me to figure out is my calendar system. Because I posted on LinkedIn who wants to be on my LinkedIn Live, and I have like 12 people that said they want to be on, and now I just got to schedule them. And if you're an entrepreneur like me, it's all the back work that I dread and I'm not very good at doing. So yeah, so during the week, I'm going to talk about first-time leaders. I'm hoping it's going to be either Tuesday, Thursday. I'm going to figure that out today or tomorrow. And then I'm going to, on the weekends, on Sundays, 10:30 Pacific time, we're going to talk about, we're going to just have people tell stories of synchronicity and serendipity. It's going to be really, really fun. And it's just going to be, I don't know, it reminds me kind of like I wanted to do like Chicken Soup for the Soul. Like, how did that ever happen? Now, many of you may not have ever heard of Chicken Soup for the Soul, but it was a book and then became a series of books maybe 20 years ago that about coincidences, about how, what I would say, God shots. Like, how could that possibly have happened? And I have so many of those things that happened in my life, and I'm looking forward to sharing them with you. And I'm trying to see where it says how long we have been on here, so I can know, because I wanted to stay on for at least 20 minutes. Let me see. Let me go back to the chat. I can see about 10 after 9, the comments started coming in. Hey, check this out. The famous and very humble, wonderful Brian Schulman. Thank you. And here's Maria. I had put out on LinkedIn Live that I was doing a online course for first-time leaders, and Maria reached out to me, and then I talked to through Maria, I talked to a bunch of people about what do first-time leaders really even want to hear about. And Elizabeth just got on, and hello, Elizabeth. Oh, that's so cool. Your picture is showing there too. Elizabeth helped me with the course on what do first-time supervisors and leaders really, supervisors, managers, executives really want to or need to know. And so I did a bunch of research, and Maria helped me with that. And Elizabeth, it says we see you. I wonder who we see you is. But Elizabeth is excited for the Super Bowl tomorrow. And if I am correct, she is rooting for Kansas City. And so this time tomorrow night, we'll, 24 hours from now, we'll know who's going to be the hey, Elizabeth, do you want to, who's going to be the champions? Elizabeth, do you want to come on? Now let me see how I put that link up again. What happened to that one? Oh, captions. Here you go. Here you go. If you want to come on right now, Elizabeth, here it is. And it's okay because it's, oh my gosh, it's 12:30 where you are. If you don't want to, that's fine. Let's see. I just want to go back to this. And I think I just have a couple more minutes to make it to 20 minutes. It looks like 10 after. Yeah, just a few more minutes. And so let's go back to the difference between synchronicity and serendipity. Well, synchronicity, I know from, like I said, I haven't studied him, but I do love him. Carl Jung, and Carl Jung was a therapist, a psychiatrist at the time of Freud. So it was Freud, Adler, and Jung. And Jung really believed in a spiritual connection to be healed, where other psychiatrists at the time and still today think just talk it out, and we'll be able to figure it out. And Jung really felt like you needed a spiritual conversion, a spiritual awakening of sorts. So that's where synchronicities, some people say, is more spiritual, but serendipity and synchronicity are very similar. So again, let's see here. Carl Jung says that synchronicities are meaningful coincidences. And someone else is saying synchronicities are incidents of spiritual significance that ask us to momentarily dampen our self-obsession and consider the possibility of the divine. Synchronistic experiences leave us with a curious sense that we should pay attention. Like, whoa, how could that happen? How did that happen? Doop. I figured that, Elizabeth. Let's see. Let me get you off there. Okay, so that's synchronicity. Synchronicity and serendipity. And serendipity says the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. And someone said, what is an example of serendipity? Serendipity is when someone accidentally finds something good. An example of serendipity is finding a $20 bill in a pocket of the coat you haven't worn in a while. So they're very similar, but I think synchronicity is more profound. It's a more profound event. So I am going to sign off, and I'm going to be back on tomorrow morning at 10:30 Pacific time. And I know it is Super Bowl Sunday, but I figured maybe one or two are not going to be watching the Super Bowl. And I'm going to just talk a little bit about synchronicity and read some things about synchronicity and serendipity and take it from there. And thank you so much for everyone that, showed up and shouted out to me. So Jason Paletta, Maria Roos, Brian Schulman, and Elizabeth. I don't think you ever told me how to pronounce your last name, but I'm going to say Nagung. Nungu. Anyway, Elizabeth, next time we talk, actually, when you get on my show, you can tell me how to say it. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night. Be safe. Be safe. Love each other. And now I have to figure out how to stop this. Okay. Are you sure you want to finish this?